Hey, and welcome back to part 3 of our Gametype discussion for Shifting Gears. The other 2 parts are linked below along with our guest profiles. As always, my personal thoughts are typed up and linked below as well. Now let's hop back in and finish out the discussion. Alright, on the topic of, free-for-all, it's those solo queue players. You go in, now say Chris and I want to play together, Wingman. Wingman and Guardian were my 2 most played modes in Gears 2. Gears 3 comes along, I didn't really play Wingman that much. Gears 4, Wingman's not even there. There's a lot of people asking for it, though. Do you guys think it's worth bringing back in?
I thought it was very unique to Gears, and it was cool. I think the reasoning was that the population numbers weren't there, but at the very least, I would like to see some sort of doubles playlist. Like, I really like Brothers to the End playlist, just you, a buddy against 2. So, whether it be Wingman or just another Brothers to the End playlist, some sort of doubles game type would be very welcomed by me.
I think it should definitely be in private matches. Okay. But and maybe in like a grab bag. Well, no, grab bag would be difficult with a 2v playlist, but like online, like you were saying, the population numbers just weren't showing it as worth returning. So as much support as it has on like the forums and Reddit and stuff, I don't know if it's worth making a new playlist for.
Yeah, like I feel like a lot of people's love for it is rooted mostly in nostalgia for the fact that it was a thing that we had and it was taken away from us, sort of feeling. And maybe that's why we say the same thing about FFA, even though that's not necessarily the case, because I think there's a larger argument that could be made for solo queuing players. But I do know I played a ton of BTTE in Gears 3, and a 2v2 playlist was really solid. But I think it's like a difference of opinion in like casual and competitive. Like 2v2s can get really sweaty really quick, but like but Wingman, I don't really ever think was like intended to be a sweaty mode. I think it was just intended to be something that was for casual play, but could be, it comes down to eventually, who's last standing sort of a situation. But a lot of things happen in terms of like number of players. Like in Gears 2, you had X amount of teams versus Gears 3, you had one less amount of teams. And so it plays totally different, between those 2 games. Like Gears 2 was really frantic. Gears 3 was kind of boring. And so I don't know. It's a situation where like I would love to see it back in the game, but I would prefer to see Brothers to the End in the game over that.
Would you like to see that as like a permanent addition, or just them having the availability to do that as like special events or something?
Personally, permanent for me. I know that the population size isn't there comparatively, but at the same time, you're only searching in parties of 2, so I don't know if it necessarily needs to have the same amount of players as TDM to justify its existence. So I would love to see a Brothers to the End permanently in there. I was pretty sad when it got removed.
Yeah, I agree. Brothers to the End permanent. Wingman, more of a maybe like a this month. We have this new mode kind of rotated in sort of thing. I would be fine with that, and I think a lot of people would be excited to play it. But I think it comes down to how many teams do you want on the map, and a few other factors as to like why it would really need to warrant a full-time playlist.
Is that what you liked about Brothers to the End? Was that it was just two teams on the map?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's because of the fact that it's a lot more focused on like what the end goal is, and you can't just get screwed over by like a random team joining in a fight necessarily. Like it's just you and your friend versus him.
Hey, it's like you said, you got to be aware.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but like it's different because it's still think about
you gotta pick your fights.
Well, think about like 44 and 5v5 Gears. Like there's still only ever 2 teams, and
that's
so now
right.
whenever all of a sudden it's like, oh, there's 4 teams or there's more, like then it starts to get really chaotic for sure. And so I think it'd be fun like in an action sack type of thing, but I don't necessarily know if
But then what about free for all though? That's even more chaotic. There's more teams.
True. But I think it's different because
you can't have it both ways.
Specifically with the mindset of like I am fighting alone. I'm not fighting with a friend and I'm going to get screwed over from random team that is joining a fight out of nowhere and basically was just kind of sandbagging on the fact that they're going to clean it up,
Yeah. I mean, it's the 2 extremes there. You have the 2 teams or the no teams thing, and then Wingman is kind of just in the middle.
I'm personally a fan of Wingman.
I think they should at least
Brothers to the End, just because with Brothers to the End it was a TDM, and I don't know, it kind of took forever.
I personally preferred
get rid of all
Wingman
their
as
lines.
well. I prefer.
That's
Wingman.
true. It was a TDM for Brothers to the End, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Mhm.
If they changed it to execution,
Especially
or
on
Well,
maybe,
so that kind of moves into the next game type was 2v2 Nashers. It was 2v2 execution.
That was
which existed at one point, right?
That was in Ultimate Edition.
Yeah, it was Ultimate
Yeah.
Edition. That was the best edition.
I thoroughly enjoyed
Edition
that.
two.
I mean, it was just on boxes and it was Nashers only, but I really enjoyed that.
Bring back boxes. Bring back boxes.
If they were to bring something like that back, 2v2 execution, do you think it should be something like boxes where it's Nashers only, or do you think it should be a legit 2v2 execution?
Nope. The maps are. I think the maps are too big.
That was my thought. Is the maps are too
2v2.
big.
the maps are definitely big. I think if we're gonna talk permanent playlists, I would personally prefer to just have like 2v2 maps as is, weapons as is, because you could potentially get like competitive value out of that. But I definitely think like the Nash or boxes mode and the Wingman mode that Typo was talking about are things that should be like showing up on a month-to-month basis, because clearly people like them and they're fun. So
yeah.
I think boxes, the inception of it is not that it's meant to be this like competitive merit mode where you're learning how to use a lot of the different guns. It's solely really for warm up, you know?
Yeah, and that's
like,
how it originated, was warm up. But like,
yeah,
I found myself playing it a ton just because I was having fun with it.
Yeah, but I will say there were some issues I think with kind of the map. Like I don't agree with the fact that there were just sandbags at the beginning of the spawn. You know?
Oh yeah, no, it definitely had its
then add in the hill at the end.
Yeah, I think I think there's a lot of things they could have done though to
make
make it better, because I hated having to be the aggressor and push a fight where I feel like I'm at a disadvantage because it just sat in their spawn. You know?
Yeah, I don't think boxes should necessarily return. I think 2v2 Nasher execution and have Coalition develop a new map around that would be interesting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Let's see. So what other modes do we have?
So hold on. So if you had a choice between 2v2 execution, Brothers to the End, or Wingman, what would you guys pick?
So Brothers to the End is TDM, right? Like I just want to make sure I don't get confused.
Yes.
I think execution, because the problem with Brothers to the End is just the idea that if you win the initial, it's a lot easier to get that rolling and get power weapons and kill people. King of the Hill might even be kind of cool, give you an objective, and boxes maybe on every 3 months it shows up or something. Personally.
Yeah. I like the 2v2 Nasher execution thing.
I would say Brothers to the End, but I would want it to play like execution.
Oh, okay.
Just
So
we
not
play 2v2 in rounds.
Okay.
Yeah, 2v2
I think,
execution.
Chris, that's what you would want, right?
Yeah, 2v2 execution.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. These last previous game modes I think might go pretty quickly. Submission and Capture the Leader. I honestly I loved both of those modes. I was in the vast minority there, but I loved both of those. I don't think we'll be seeing them come back.
It just sucks when like the meat flag would kind of go to one side of the map. It's like, why are you favoring their team?
Yeah.
True, that's true too.
Assassination.
Best Guardian type game type of all time.
You think
I
so?
think a
That is
lot
my
of these,
unpopular Gears opinion.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed Assassination.
I think a lot of these modes, like Meat Flag and stuff, are essentially just fillers for the fact that the elephant in the room is that CTF does not work in this game.
So let's go to that one. Breakthrough. They had CTF in
2 seconds for assassination. Okay.
Assassination's great. I don't think it's coming back.
Just hey, your leader died. You failed your mission.
Winning. Yeah.
Round's over. You failed
Very
the objective.
demoralizing.
Typo, did you ever play Breakthrough?
CTF doesn't work
Did you ever play
very
what?
well.
Breakthrough?
Yeah, in Judgment.
Or Breakout, whatever it was called.
On Halo?
Yeah, Breakout and Judgment, I think.
No, in Judgment, Chris.
Oh.
They had,
yes, I did play
They
it.
had CTF. It was Capture the Flag.
Well, wasn't there like there was like a breakout, which was like the opposite of it, right? Where
all right, yeah.
There's a neutral and
They had in private matches it was a toggle, so you could make it so that you had to go get their flag and bring it back to your base, or they had the like search and destroy type one where it was like you go plant the flag or something like that. I think it was
Yes.
all respawns.
I thought it had to be. I could be wrong. I thought it had to be where like it's essentially a one flag objective game. You have to go grab it and just keep relaying back to your base. But the catch is that flag had to be at home to score or something like that. I can't quite remember.
For breakthrough, yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But regardless,
there was the opposite where it was a neutral flag, and you actually had it was basically a bomb. Okay. It was a neutral bomb game type. Like you actually had to deliver it to the enemy team. Enemy base.
You had to rush it into their base.
Yeah, but that was only
basically like assault, from Halo, essentially.
Yep. Yeah, and neutral.
So
assault.
yeah, I mean, I think the issue with that ultimately was these are neutral or one-side objective modes, and so a lot of the question is like, well, why didn't we just have CTF? Why didn't we just have two flags?
Because they tried to Gearsify it.
And the thing is,
they tried it in Judgment. That was the problem.
The reason it could even somewhat work in Judgment was because of the verticality of the maps. Like, I honestly think the fact that you could have high ground and be able to shoot down essentially over cover at certain spots on the map to stop the flag runner was the only reason they'd even kind of work. Because like the thing I always would bring up in terms of CTF in like a classic Gears format is imagine playing Dry Dock and you rushing into base, grabbing a flag, and then basically making it top middle of the map. Like, there's absolutely no way you can shoot up and stop the person. Like, once they get up your steps, they're gone. Like, that's it. As soon as they grab and they get across that courtyard, essentially right to the steps, there's no way you can stop them because of the way the framework of the game is. Like, you can't shoot down over cover. You'd have to basically make like a valley to where you can lancer down and stop the flag runner. There's no way you can shoot up, over those covers. So as soon as they round corner, that's it. It's like a guaranteed cap.
I was gonna say, like, but can't you just take the middle? Like, you can take the bridge at Dry Dock, and then you can shoot down at them as they're trying to get to their home base. There's a point where it's like if they're too close to their home base, it's almost inevitable unless you get some miraculous like team wipe.
Yeah, like it's inevitable they're gonna cap. Like pretty much if you get slayed out, they pull out of your base and then they get up past like even to the first box, because you know how there's like a little box or there's like some piece of cover that you could stop on like on the steps. Mm-hmm. If they round that corner at the box, that's it. Gone. They're just gonna heal up and then they're gonna continue to run the flag.
But maybe it's less of an issue with the game type than it is with just the way Gears has designed their maps and the way they design their spawns. So I think if that fundamentally changes in Gears 5 where there's more variance with where you can spawn and that the maps aren't designed so that, like you're saying, once you're at a halfway point, it's game. If they do that, then I think suddenly these options that were not viable now become viable. I don't know exactly what it takes to get that done, but that's something they should definitely consider because I think they're limited by the fact that they only have like the 2 spawns on the map. So...
Yeah, I 100% agree, and I think that's kind of the problem is we're really pigeonholed into like the amount of modes that can and can't work in our game. But like, what would you prefer? Would you prefer that they make more vertical maps and they change up like traditionally how spawns are just for the sake of getting a mode like CTF to work, or would you prefer that they stick to what like a classic Gears feels like? We've had a lot of changes from each game, but like. At some point, you have to like kind of ask, like, okay, if they really just go all in and change this up, is it Gears anymore? Is kind of the question.
And that was kind of my question: is do we even like? So we're talking about how a capture the flag mode could work. Do we want a capture the flag mode?
Do you want it that badly?
I'd rather have an assault, like a bomb, where because like how you said, Typo, like with capture the flag, like once they're past the halfway point in Gears, it's basically inevitable. You can kind of delay it, but I mean, they're going to capture the flag at that point. But like with an assault, I mean, like, do you think it'll play different? Like, do you think
assault would be they have to like push forward to your to your spawn?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, because at that point you have to force another fight. You can win the initial and you got to force one. So yeah, I think it's a good idea, and they should definitely try it because the issue with CTF would be that you're just booking it the other way, and that's pretty much it. So
because there's ultimately parts of the map that are walled off that like we can't roll off of or we can't shoot over, and we have to make a route around to get to that point of the map. Like it's not like we can just step over certain objects, and so it really kind of sets you in set lanes in which you can run the flag, and you just know like when they added sprint to Halo, it changed a lot of the timing of like how quickly you get across the map. It became a random element almost of like, well, it took 10 seconds, but now you can get across in 7. And so like internally you can't calculate how long it's going to take. But like Gears, if we're always sprinting and you know, let's negate the fact of rolling is faster in Gears 2 and running. But like
that took skill to get to Gridlock. Yeah.
But like you know how long it's going to take someone typically, even if they've got like crap movement, it's probably only going to take them X amount of time to get from point A to point B. And then at that point in your head, you're like, that's it. That's a cap. There's no possible way I can stop that unless I have like a hammer of dawn.
Yeah,
you know?
But to Dodger's point originally, I mean, imagine you're on dry dock, because if we're talking assault, you go up, you lose your initial assault pretty badly. The other team gets the bomb, and then you respawn and you can fortify and you have a chance to kill them. And if you kill them, they're going to have the same opportunity you did. So that kind of eliminates the issue of, you know, oh, they're 5 seconds ahead and therefore there is no point.
Let's talk about a bomb game type then. So,
well, hold on. Before we segue into that, because I'm still really curious on this assault. So, you know, whenever
I guess that's what I meant by bomb game type was assault.
Whenever you move,
that's like you don't want to segue into it, but you're
no. It's a difference. It's a difference of the way in which you move the objective. So, you know, in Halo, you interact with like an actual flag that you have to toss. Regardless of Halo 4, but you have to toss the flag, and you're actually having to like move it across the map. But then like Call of Duty, you just touch the flag and then you book it, you know? Like, would you prefer if we're moving a bomb or if we were moving a flag in this situation, whatever it is, the neutral objective, like, would you prefer that it's something we have to interact with?
Yes.
Or would you prefer that it just, you know, somehow magnetizes to your back and you just carry it into the base?
It's carrying a resonator.
Oh, so basically, do you hold it like a bomb, or can you do it like and you can still shoot?
Right. Yeah, like for instance, you know that section in like Gears 2, I think's campaign where like you both have to hold on to like this big crate and you're like having to both work together to like move it. I think that's like not the best example, but it's like, should it be something like when you pick up an oddball in Halo or a flag in Halo, like you're slowed down? It's like a physical thing you can interact with. Like, could you imagine again, like on dry dock, I pick up the bomb in the middle of the map, like middle bridge, and then I can like drop it to bottom bridge? Like, so, is that a thing?
I think that is a really good point, and I'm not, set on anything, but I was kind of thinking, like, you know, they have this whole thrash ball sport in Gears. It'd be kind of cool if maybe you did have to pick it up like a bomb, and you had the opportunity to throw it at your teammate somewhere else to kind of add to that, like, team play dynamic. And
so now we're just talking about making a thrash ball game type.
Well, it's like kind of like a bomb game type, you know, just like essentially the same. Just get the ball to the end of the side, but you can toss it to each other, and it adds an interesting element.
A lot of sports are bomb game types if you think about it.
pretty much, yeah.
It's kind of like Griff Ball, because it's like the ball was a bomb, and then you deliver it and it explodes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, my thing would be you can't roadie run. It's a weapon, so you can't shoot when you have it. I would say you can probably take cover, but you just can't roadie run.
I'd say you can't slide to cover, or your slip distance is significantly reduced.
Yeah.
So you can't wall bounce, essentially.
I just wonder if it'd be too hard though for like at the competitive level of play if you have 5 players who have full leeway to do whatever movement they want, and then you got 4 players who can help you out and one person who's kind of obsolete and you're having to push forward.
Yeah, but you should still be able to drop it. You can drop it and you can shoot.
So
and then there'll be like a timer for it to reset.
So it would be kind of like trying to move like the mortar on the map essentially.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah,
I mean, I think it could be interesting for sure.
Yeah, me too.
Would you want a bomb game type or an assault type game type to have respawns, or would you want that single life,
like a search and
destroy style thing?
I want to try both, to be honest.
Yeah.
Gears 5 beta.
Exactly. Yeah. Dodgers
I know a lot of competitive people seem to want that search and destroy style thing. I think I would prefer a respawn mode just because I'm a more casual player.
I think if it's gonna be a thing where we have to move it like a mortar, you're gonna probably have to have spawns.
Yeah.
Because you essentially you might get it to the end of the bridge and that's it. You know, like
I mean, you could have a competitive search and destroy where one team's on offense, one team's on defense, and you can have the respawn one where it's just neutral, a neutral bomb game type.
Yeah, there's definitely variations that I think they should tinker with as well. Because like for me too, like the non-respawn game types are exciting because you have one life, you can't screw up or you're out. But then the respawn games are exciting because you're going to see people do risky things that maybe they wouldn't have done, and you're going to see some crazy plays and constant action. So there's pluses to both and minuses to both. I think they should both be tested.
I think honestly it would be interesting to have this neutral objective thing where you're slow when you're carrying it, you have to deliver it to the enemy team's base, but then to add an extra level to that dynamic, you kind of have if you've played Battlefield or similar type games where you guys can control certain outposts and that's where you're able to spawn, if there's something on the map so that your team can essentially dominate different parts of the map so that you don't have to always spawn at your base, you can control different parts of the map so your team can spawn in different locations, and that will, so you have to balance, do I want to try to progress the bomb further and protect the bomb, or do I want to try and move up and like take control of this next location so that my team can dominate that area? It's kind of like a ground war type thing where how much of the map do you control, and that's where you can spawn.
I mean, I don't think the maps are big enough for that, and
I guess it's like, think of Dry Dock. Do you want to have the ability to spawn up top on the bridge?
Well, I'm never a supporter of TDM spawning. So like you're only spawning in your base. I like the quarter, like half, not maybe not halfway, but unless you do control the entire map.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. Is like, how do you determine if you control that part of the map, or is there an easy way other than like, oh, your team's pushed up really far, you can spawn anywhere on that part of the map you guys control, or are there actually like certain spots that someone can go capture and say, okay,
like
now
a zone.
Zone. My team now owns this zone. We're able to spawn here.
Definitely be interesting. I'm open to it. Anything to kind of spice up the diversity of gameplay. It kind of sounds like what Guardian was trying to do, but a way more explicit. And I don't know, maybe it'll work with the maps. I just think of like Foundation. Maybe you want your team to spawn by the boom. Maybe you want to spawn by the torque. But I don't know.
I think it would be interesting to have a mode. I don't know what the objective would be, but a mode where your team controls these different zones and you actually get to choose your spawn location. Let's see. Any other like future game types that you guys can think of? Types of modes that you would like to see?
Battle Royale.
Not off the top of my head.
Yeah, Battle Royale. A giant map where the
just one.
Yeah, have the krill close in over time.
It'd be pretty funny if they did a spin-on free-for-all where you only have one life every round, and and it was like first to like 2 or 3. I don't know. Where
honestly, that would be such a simple change.
So basically, like a free-for-all execution.
Yeah, free-for-all.
Yeah,
execution.
Exactly.
Yeah. That'd be.
Yeah, I don't know. It'd be cool.
That'd be cool.
Another thing to throw in for a fun event.
Yeah, it was like when you talk about the krill storm, I actually had like a concept for Tyro Station to have that type of feature where like it's just a krill storm around it, but then like it keeps on coming in.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of like the flood in Gears 2 or whatever. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the map's called Flood.
Yeah,
right?
Flood.
Where it like condensed everyone to a certain location. I
mean, for execution Warzone, yeah.
If you had like, I mean, they could make 1 or 2 maps that are just a lot larger, and you could have, 30 people spawn in on this map, and then have it condensed down to like a much smaller area over time for a battle royale type thing. That would be, I don't know, I would love that.
Our minds have been tainted by Fortnite,
dude.
PUBG.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think battle royale would necessarily work in this game. I know a lot of people have made the complaint too, like, why don't we just have like 16 versus 16 craziness? And it's like, because Lancers are strong. Like, people want to be able to
16
move.
Lancers insta-down.
Yeah, like, you want to be able to move is the biggest thing.
It's pretty weird, too.
Like, Battle Royale is a big thing right now, but...
Yeah.
And, like, each one has their own little thing. PUBG's more realistic. Fortnite is cartoony, but has construction and building, which I personally
love. Makes it
love.
so much better.
There's no, like, cover-based or really, like, intimate team Battle Royale thing that, like, Gears kind of could take that spot.
But you're talking tons of players.
If they make it like a 25 instead of like 100 players,
like 5 teams of 20 or 5 teams of 5, not 5 teams of 20.
Teams of 20.
No, five teams of 5 spawn in on a big map or something like that.
Then it's basically like Wingman on crack.
Yeah. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, a little bit.
Sometimes
yeah,
that's a good
it's kind
thing.
of out of the scope. I think it's funny, but it's just out of the scope. I don't think they should be making dedicated maps to a specific.
Though a free for all execution type of playlist
would be cool.
Would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Also,
it would have that. It would have that battle royale.
Also, to touch on the free for all bit would be that the way that the scoring was done in Judgment, in my opinion, wasn't ideal as to how I like to see scoring done in an FFA. Even like Call of Duty, like I played a lot of Call of Duty Black Ops 2 FFA. Honestly, I got like Master Prestige or whatever it was in that game, mostly from probably playing like 70% FFA and then like 30% league play, and to that you still had to play to like 30 kills or something like that. And so I feel like it kind of negates a lot of people's mentality of like, I could
you want the time limit, right?
Yeah, like well, he's 7 kills ahead of me, he only needs 2 more to win, like there's no point in even trying. And I would see that a lot. I would literally just see people start trying to trick shot or just stand and spawn and not even, and I knew they were playing. It wasn't like they were AFK the whole game because you would get kicked, but like, they just wouldn't try anymore because they felt like there's no way I'm possibly bringing this back. I'm not going to get this W. But like the way Halo FFAs used to be was the fact that it went to a timer, and you would basically see people slay it out to the last second. And I have honestly won an FFA before by getting like a Kilimanjaro out of nowhere. Just it lined up so perfectly for me, and then I'm down like 6 kills. I end up being up by 1 with like a second remaining, and like that's insane. The fact that people were trying up to the last possible second. I always
so you
thought
want
that
it to
was
be time based.
beautiful. Yeah, I would love for the game. I wouldn't want it to be insane amount of time, like 15-minute rounds or 12-minute rounds. I would think like 7 minutes or even 10 max.
Well,
would
I
be,
mean,
like, fine.
go look.
I was thinking more like 3 or 4.
Well, no, I'm saying let them play with a 25 kill limit for a while. Like internally, they test the 25 kill limit, see what the average time is for someone to reach that 25, and just round that off, make that the time limit of the round or of the game.
Yeah,
These guys
lots
need
of
to
ways you
hire
can take
cabs.
But yeah, I think that would be the best way to approach it, because then the matches aren't too long; they're pretty short and sweet. But like you still have people trying, because there's nothing worse than like when people just aren't trying at all in a match.
I think there is some positive in having that goal, that limit, that objective for someone to go after. But I do see where you're coming from. I don't know which one I would prefer, but I think I see positives in each
Yeah,
way.
Another thing I think other games have done is something like a win by 2, where like if you both are at like 24, then you're not going to get it by who reaches 26 or 25 first. You got to find who reaches 26 because you got to go by win by 2, and then you like run out of time. But then it gets confusing because then it's like, well, we both have 32 kills right now, and this game was supposed to end at 25, and so
And I do kind of like that like clutch feeling though. It's like that guy's 24 and you're down by a couple and you get like a triple kill, and it's like, yes, I beat him last second. You don't want to have to like go up another one. So I mean, there's so many different ways you could spin it. Right,
of course. But yeah, I think FFA is like the biggest want for sure. A thing I suggested long before Gears 4 was out was something called JackPot.
Oh
which was really crazy.
I forgot about that.
But see, the funny thing about it is like elements of that suggestion are essentially what escalation is. Because the idea was that you were going to have set rotating hill spawns, but then they swap between like ABC, DEF, and that's exactly what we got out of escalation, which I thought was kind of neat. Thanks for stealing my idea. Gosh. But no, it actually played like
idea. I mean, come on.
It played like a mode from Halo Reach or Halo 4. God, I can't remember. I'm old. There was a mode,
good or bad?
There was a competitive mode that was played where essentially you had to push an objective, interact with said objective, and then hold off that objective from like waves of respawning enemies for a set amount of time. And that's what JackPot. The idea was that you would both spawn, you would try and fight over a neutral objective, you would have to stop what you were doing essentially for like a set amount of time, so like 5 seconds to interact with the it wasn't a bomb, it was literally a JackPot. you'd interact with Jack, and then he would start doing some sort of process like, I don't know, mining for something or ripping a door or whatever. And then you'd have to hold that off from the other team for, say, a minute. So you basically had to attack and defend.
What was that mode in Destiny? It's a lot like Salvage. Is that what it was called in Destiny?
Yeah, Salvage. Yep.
Interesting. Well, that's funny too, because Bungie, made if it was a Reach game mode, Bungie made it. If it was a Halo 4 game, obviously 343 did. But regardless, yeah. So you interact with the objective. The other team can interact with the objective as well. But once they take the objective back, the timer starts over for them too. But the beauty of it was, I can't quite remember everything within the video now, but I had figured out a way for it to not end in any stalemates. And so that would have been the nicest thing, because that's obviously the competitive issue before escalation was that, execution just ended in stalemates. And so, hey, here's a way that we can interact.
So what happens if they don't do the objective?
That's a good question, but
that's a stalemate, right?
I feel like you have to win. You can't get like points by killing. So
well, there's a lot of people who don't play the objective and they just go for kills. So.
Just have a time limit on the match.
Well, then ultimately all that would happen is like it would be like nobody capped a flag, but that would be insane, because the match would go on for 15 minutes or so, and you would literally just end in a tie 0-0. But the objectives did not take that long to cap. You would have somebody cap one, and it wasn't too crazy far-fetched. Like I said, it was already a proven game type that had worked in another game, so it wasn't like I was just throwing out crazy ideas like, yeah, we could do this. That's no, it had at least had clout somewhere and had worked before.
What are your thoughts on game modes where there's an objective, but killing also adds to your score? Destiny definitely did this one, where it was like the more, I think it was on Control, the more hills you captured, the more points you got per kill.
Yeah, right. 100 for 1, 200 for 2.
Yeah. Do you think that would be nice, because it would allow people to, like, the Slayers to play their like TDM style game? They just go for their kills, but then really, if your team wants to succeed, you also need to have that objective play.
Yeah, I think it could work because of the fact that we already have maps that are already built within Gears 4 that have 3 hills on it, because that's the main staple. You need 3 zones to capture, so we already have maps that work for it.
Yeah.
And really, all it is it weighs less on the points you're accruing from capturing the hills. Like there is no 3 hill domination effect where you just win the round. You only play 1 round, and then by having 2 or all 3 hills, then you're getting 3 times the amount of kills per each kill. So you're getting 3 points for 1 kill essentially if you have all 3. And so then it just you speed up the game, and you can win very quickly if you're getting 3 times the amount of points per each kill. So I think it could work.
Yeah, I think that'd be an interesting mode for them to try out. Yeah. Let's see. Any other game modes you guys can think of?
I can't think of it. I think we covered a lot. I just think that one thing that I think is important for the coalition to think about and people in the community is that we talked a lot about game types that would, have a really good chance competitively, but I think we need to also focus on casual game types that people can hop on and just enjoy for fun. And I think, their special events playlist does a great job of that, but we need some permanent stuff. Dodgeball was a good step forward. Free for all would help, and we just need to focus more on the casual kind of gameplay, because
so Horde will probably stay most likely. But what about Beast mode? What about Beast mode?
I was thinking about that actually, and so there was Overrun, and obviously Overrun requires its own maps.
Overrun, yeah.
It was undoable, but Beast mode can actually be used with the maps that are for multiplayer. So they should consider doing a mode where one team can take control of the beast and the other team plays just as the humans for 12 rounds or whatever it is. I think that would be fun. There just needs to be some casual stuff. If I, as somebody who loves playing competitively, a lot of the time I'm feeling burnt out on the game because it just requires so much time, skill, and energy, then something's not right.
Yeah. So yeah, I think you really hit it. There's a lot of changes that could be made to some competitive modes to make them better. They're in a really good spot right now. We really need some sort of grab bag playlist that has a lot of the more casual, fun games. Right now, I find there's a lot of times that I want to go play Gears, but I don't want to get super sweaty, or there's modes I don't really feel like playing. A grab bag thing would be a great place to go relax.
Yeah, exactly.
I want a grab bag playlist where the wall like to get to cover, there's no distance requirement, so you can like go across the map.
that'd be hilarious. They should try it, or like everyone's crab walking or something. Like, you know, just
that would actually be really cool, man. Because there's been similar things where like you have 1,000% movement speed or something like that.
You know, they can change the slip distance in Gears 4 right now. They're doing it in the competitive thing. Yeah.
Wow,
we need to talk to like Liam or something. Be like, yo, this needs to be a special event.
I want to play Dodgers mode like right now. The idea of just like slipping to the other side of the map and people being elastic bands. Well,
all right, I think that's all the big topics we want to hit on today. There's obviously a lot more to discuss between like playlist organization, private match options, all these random awesome grab bag ideas. So I think we'll save that for another video. But anyone watching this, if you guys have topics you want us to talk about in the future, be sure to leave them below. Thanks again for joining you guys. Let's go around one more time. Do same order. So Typo, I guess start with you. Just say whatever you want. Where can people find you online?
Oh my gosh. I'm going to say whatever I want. Please don't find me online. No, my @'s @typographic. I really only check Twitter, so don't hit me up with any requests to get on Snapchat or follow you on Instagram. It's not going to happen. But thanks for having me on. Definitely a lot of fun talking with these guys about these topics. So I'm going to pass it on to the next person.
Okay, I think that was me. So I'm Chris. I do have a Snapchat. And I'm, if you want to add me up, just let me know. I send great snaps. I'm on YouTube and Twitter. My handle is Modded Talent. Check it out if you like videos about tips you like to improve or just discussion-based videos. Always a pleasure to join chaps these kinds of discussions. So, yeah, thanks for having me as well.
Yep.
At Fellblue Dodger. You can find on YouTube. You can find me at Tac-Com sometimes.
Yep, sometimes. All right, yeah, and as always, down in the description, I'll have links to all their channels and fun stuff, so make sure you go follow them. Make sure you subscribe to this channel for more of these discussions. I plan to have a lot more of them. So thanks again for joining me, guys. Thanks for everyone out there watching, and I'll catch you next time.
Boop.